So again, my mother was a kindergarten teacher in Oakland Public Schools for 40 years. After she retired, she spent the last 7 years coaching new teachers in Oakland. I've also worked myself in schools, not as a classroom teacher, but I've worked myself in schools for over 20 years. I feel like I'm very familiar with a lot of the issues surrounding teachers, and actually a lot of the issues that teachers have to go through. Pay is a big part of it. We do need to pay our teachers enough to be competitive with the surrounding districts, and also so our teachers, our educators, our staff working in our schools can afford to live in our communities. But beyond pay is the working conditions that our teachers are working in. We need to reduce class size across the board. We need to give our teachers real supports. And a lot of people talk about we need to support our teachers. But some concrete ways, because of the role my family plays in Oakland a lot of times, my mother gets a lot of the phone calls at the end of every school year for teachers around the city who basically have been fired or are getting non-reelect letters. And this has been a yearly pattern from this district where teachers across the district are not rehired for the following year. One of the problems with the way the process is now is those teachers aren't even notified of the reasons why they're not being brought back. And so it's something that we're not able to correct. It's just mysteriously every year a couple of teachers disappear from each school. And it's usually, for those of us who are at the school sites, it's not usually based on who is the most effective teacher, who's the least effective teacher. It's based on reasons that we can't always figure out. Along with that, it has long been known that HR is not always the most friendly office in the Oakland School District, and we really need to do a better job of improving our HR department. A lot of times they operate as gatekeepers to our district when that's not supposed to be their job. So when a teacher comes to Oakland and they want to be employed in Oakland, if they don't get along with the people in HR, they're not going to be hired in Oakland. Along with that, we have this instability in our site leaders and our principals at our school sites. This year, at the end of the school year, the superintendent decided to move or to replace 20 principals across our schools, which is about 25% of our schools. That's been going on yearly. So if every year we're replacing 25% of our site leaders, then that has a trickle-down effect to then the staff at those school sites. And it greatly adds to the instability across the district. What I would like to see happen is we have board policy for all of these things. We have board policy on principal selection. Board policy on principal selection says that each school site is supposed to be able to weigh in on choosing their own site leader. If each school site was able to choose their own site leader that would fit the program that they're pushing at that school, then those site leaders would be able to assemble the staff to carry out that program at that school. And the big change there would be the principals would no longer be beholden to the superintendent. Their power would come from the communities they're representing. And we would really change the dynamic. Then it would be much harder for the superintendent at the end of the year to come and say to a community, I'm replacing your principal because I think that's needed. The power would then lie with the community to say, we hired this principal, this is the site leader we want, they're assembling the staff we want, that's what we need to stay with. Lastly, we can do a lot of soft things to make it a lot better for teachers working in our city. Many teachers feel like they're under attack, that they're being blamed for things that are out of their control. And a lot of it comes down to tone. If you listen to the tone at school board meetings, school board members and our district staff, our district central staff, do not do a good job of showing their respect, their love, or their allegiance to teachers at school board meetings. And I think a lot could be done in that area too.